Welcome to Revolutionary Motion, where we show you tennis from a different perspective. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the purpose of the backswing. So obviously everybody connects the backswing with, the generator for power. So if you're trying to do a backswing, the main purpose in everybody's mind is, well, if I don't do a backswing, I won't be able to hit the ball hard enough. Now that's partially true. Obviously, without a backswing it's hard to hit hard. But on the other hand, you also have to see the backswing as more of a tool for you to be able to do your correct technique. So what I mean by that is, when you are doing your backswing, the backswing should be the opposite. Your body should move in the opposite direction of what it does on the swing. Why? Because it helps you to make sure that your body is set up to rotate the correct way. If, for example, I started my backswing like this, I would not be able to now pull my left shoulder back and down, quickly enough to generate power from this awkward position. So it's really important that you set up your upper body correctly in order to be able to execute your technique afterwards. So correctly in this case would be, if I'm trying to rotate into my shot this way. I'm trying to pull my left shoulder back and down, so my right shoulder, and thus consequently also my right arm and my racket, will be swung upwards through and forwards through the contact point. So that means if this is the motion I want during my shot, the opposite motion would now be going back and down with my right shoulder. If my right shoulder is lower than the left shoulder on the backswing, I can now have a way easier time rotating my left shoulder down because it is lifted. So that means that motion can be done faster and longer, which, in this case, distance and speed equals force for you into your contact point. So it's really important that you set up all parts of your body so they're basically twisted in the exact opposite direction of where they're supposed to move when you hit your shots. Now that seems kind of complicated, but it's pretty easy. What it actually means is just that you're, reversing the motion. So if you're swinging this way, you want to do the opposite way on the backswing. If you're trying to keep your lower body still while hitting, you're trying to keep it still while rotating back as well. So you won't rotate back like this on the backswing. It doesn't make any sense because now you don't have that twist in the upper body this way that uncoils into the shot. Imagine it kind of like, sitting on a swing as a child, like a swing with like ropes on the side rather than, chains. And those ropes, if you sit on it, and now your friend turns the swing in one direction, 10, 15 rotations, obviously the ropes will tangle up, but there will be a lot of tension. So if now your friend lets go, that tension will undo itself, and you're going to swing the opposite direction very fast. So if you are creating tension in your back by twisting your upper body against your lower body on the backswing, that tension doesn't feel comfortable. The body wants to get rid of it and thus initiate the shot. Now the same thing, and this is really important, also goes for your arm, your forearm and your wrist. Right? If you're trying to do this motion into the contact point, then you know that the opposite motion going this way has to happen on the backswing. If your forearm is going to rotate like this into the contact point to give it more spin, obviously as a conclusion or a consequence of your upper body rotation, but that's a different story. If that's supposed to happen during the contact point, then the opposite, which is this, has to happen on the backswing. So it is really important that every single piece of this motion gets reversed for your backswing to be perfect. Now there's one last thing. Obviously, a lot of people, see that people like, for example, Adrian Mannarino, they don't have a long backswing. They don't use that full rotation. They don't use the rotation on the backswing as well as on the swing as much. And the reason for that is that they're not trying to generate a whole lot of power. What they're trying to do is they're trying to keep the motion short and under control so they can redirect power. They're blocking. The problem with that is that this, game style only works if you get power from your opponent. Because if the ball is not fast coming towards you, blocking won't do you any good because the ball is going to be slow coming back to your opponent. And if you're staying far back when you're blocking and let the ball come towards you and let it come back down, the ball will be so slow that by this time, if you don't accelerate through the ball, you won't be able to give it enough power to put your opponent under pressure. So even these players are forced to do this backswing where you're twisting your upper body against your lower body if they're trying to generate more power. And you will see occasionally when the opponent hits really soft that they do take the racket back a little bit further just to make sure that they have a little bit of extra power in their shots to be able to finish off easy points in the process. So in conclusion, if you're trying to do a proper backswing and fulfill the purpose of the backswing completely, you have to make sure that you're twisting your upper body against your lower body and reversing the motion that you're using throughout your shot in order to be able to generate the most amount of power in the most efficient way.
Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys soon.